Greetings from Kent and Bill, your MMUA advocates at the Minnesota State Capitol. The 2025 legislative session started back on January 14th. Since then, there have been numerous legal challenges, 2 special elections with a third now scheduled for April 29th, and thousands of bills introduced. However, there has been little in the way of agreement thus far. One minor agreement was reached early in the session. Legislators came together to set their annual spring break to begin April 11th and end April 21st. More recently, the House and Senate agreed that bills would need to be out of all relevant policy committees by April 4th and out of all relevant finance committees before the legislative break begins on April 11th. When legislators return to work on April 21st, they will have just under a month to wrap things up before the mandatory adjournment date of May 19th. The bulk of this time is expected to be taken with trying to pass a new budget for the 2026-2027 biennium beginning July 1st, 2025. Failure to adopt a new budget by May 19th will force the governor to call a special session. Failure to adopt a new budget by July 1st will lead to a partial government shutdown. With the deadlines established, this seems like a good time to provide you with an update on the status of some of the key issues regarding municipal utilities being discussed this year. As a reminder, MMUA's legislative priorities are established through direct input and vetting from utility members, their joint power agencies, and MMUA's Government Relations Advisory Group. The recommendations are then submitted to the MMUA Board of Directors, which determines the final list of legislative priorities in December annually. For the 2025 legislative session, priority number 1 is repealing the state's moratorium on new nuclear energy facilities. While it is unlikely that a municipal utility will be the first to build a modern small reactor, MMUA strongly believes that all options need to be on the table for municipal power suppliers to meet the carbon-free by 2040 mandate. The House Energy Committee debated 2 bills, one of them twice, and passed each to the House floor on party-line votes. Unfortunately, with the House evenly split, 67-67, it is unlikely either bill has the votes to pass off the floor. The primary concern is centered around how nuclear waste would be stored if new reactors, even small modular units, were to be approved. Yet, the bill being proposed does not guarantee a reactor's approval, much less its construction, and existing law requires an approved storage plan. In the Senate, the issue enjoys bipartisan support, but its Energy Committee laid the bill over for possible inclusion in a potential future omnibus bill. Such a bill has not yet been assembled as of the production of this video. MMUA priority number 2 is to provide support for a bonding bill that funds programs and projects beneficial to dealing with water and wastewater issues. While there are far more projects than funding, there is strong bipartisan support to pass a bonding bill, but such a bill usually isn't finalized until just before the end of session. Last year, such a bill almost made it to the finish line, but time ran out before the final vote could occur. Legislators are aware of such a bill's importance this year. Priority 3, improve requirements and funding related to replacing lead pipes that connect utility water mains to individual homes. While the state has only established a goal of replacing lead pipes, a Biden-era presidential executive order currently creates a federal mandate to replace them all by 2037. With the state facing a $6 billion budget shortfall beginning in FY 2028 and the federal mandate likely to be repealed, there has not been the need to pursue this bill this session. The fourth and final issue for this update is reforming net metering statutes. This is an issue on which MMUA is coordinating efforts with the Minnesota Rural Electric Association. Our jointly developed bill has been heard in all relevant committees in each chamber. It would establish a more equitable system for reimbursing the owners of solar systems of up to 40 kilowatts in size by removing the existing incentive to greatly overbuild such systems beyond a customer's need to offset their own electric bills. This bill enjoys bipartisan support in the Senate, but it was laid over for possible inclusion in the committee's omnibus bill. It passed to the House floor, but again on a party-line vote, which will be insufficient to gain final approval. Opponents cast it as an anti-solar bill at the very time more power is needed on the grid. This view ignores the fact that rooftop solar is not dispatchable and therefore cannot be relied on for grid sufficiency. It also ignores the fact that the current net metering law incentivizes those more financially able to build oversized solar systems that result in higher costs for those who chose not to install solar or who cannot afford to do so. You can stay current on these and other issues at the Capitol through MMUA's weekly email newsletter we call the Capitol Letter. Let us know if you would like to receive it. Following the session, Kent, Bill, and Carlene will host informal gatherings throughout the state particularly designed for council and commission members like you and your utility managers. Community members are also welcome. In these meetings, we will give you a final session summary and seek your feedback for next year's session. In addition to legislative work, MMUA is keeping tabs for you and intervening when appropriate on the many electric and gas issues that come before the Minnesota Public Utilities Commission. We also participate in quarterly wastewater industry outreach meetings with the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency regarding regulation implementation. At the federal level, MMUA is also active. We work closely with the American Public Power Association on policy issues, and we also monitor the issues Minnesota's 8 representatives and 2 senators are sponsoring so that we can provide feedback in a timely manner on matters that may affect municipal utilities back home. We are assisted by MMUA's lobbyist in Washington, Michael Nolan. Look for further video updates like this from time to time in the months to come. And remember, what happens in St. Paul affects us all, so help us help you by talking about MMUA's priorities with your legislators.